Being present is something I've been working on for a while. Whether it's looking at nature, meditating, practicing cold exposure, or trying to feel every sense, I've always seemed to struggle with it. What am I doing wrong that is preventing me from being present every single day? Well, I believe it's my lack of focus. The practices above can help you be present, but personally, I've been forgetting to do them every single day or being consistent with them every day. So, what was the root cause of my lack of focus? I think it's from being inconsistent. Consistency is the key to improving anything. You need to be consistent when you go to the gym. You need to be consistent when you go to bed and when you wake up. This same principle applies to being present. To become better at being present, you need to be consistently practicing it. So the first thing that you can do is take 5 minutes to feel all of your senses. So if you ever feel stressed or disconnected from the present, what you can do is stop everything you're doing, sit down or lie down, and take at least 5 minutes just to feel every sense that you have. So focus on your taste, smell, hearing, sight, and touch. Wiggle your toes and feel how they move. Touch an object to feel its texture and its shape. Look around you. Do you spot any patterns or inconsistencies within your environment? What flavors do you notice in your mouth right now or when you drink water? Listen carefully. Beyond human voices, can you hear anything else? Can you hear the nature? Can you hear that electrical hum? Whether you're at work or you're at home, another environment that you can practice this in is in the shower. And a question you can ask yourself, whether you're in the shower and you feel some sort of disconnect with the present, is what do the water droplets feel on your skin? Is the temperature warm, cold, or is it just right? Alright, 2, don't use your phone throughout the day, unless it's for something useful. Avoid social media, especially waking up or when you're going to bed. Key point to remember is that your phone is a tool. It's not an entertainment device. If you keep watching YouTube videos, you're being on video streaming platforms, or you're on social media, doom scrolling, every second of your day, you'll start to only care about the dopamine hits that you get. And the dopamine that you get, you'll start to want more and more of it. It becomes a certain cycle that you crave every second of your day. And the content that does this the most is short form content like shorts and reels or TikToks. These things constantly fuel your dopamine system. And with making you feel good, it becomes more addicting because you get your hit, you feel good, and you would always want more of it. And with short form content, your ability to focus longer diminishes. And when you lose your ability to focus, your ability to focus or be in the present, that tarnishes. You'll have that feeling where you're just staring in the abyss, whether you're feeling bored or you're just doing nothing in general and you're sitting here just staring. So with avoiding using your phone, this helps you be able to be more observant about your surroundings. So instead of being hunched over like Gru while you're walking, which you shouldn't be doing, you'll be able to see more things around you. You'll be able to look at strangers, have conversations with them, and be more present in the moment that you're in, because you're seeing things and you're seeing what's happening in front of you in the real time. And being able to be more observant about everything, this is called being mindful. And this ties with the first point where your phone takes away your senses, numbs them. So being able to remove what numbs your senses makes you be able to be more present, because you can feel your senses in the present moment. And if you have trouble controlling your social media use, or at least your screen time, delete the apps that take the most of your time, because that helped for me and I've been able to decrease my screen time a lot. All right, third point is to have social interactions. Speaking keeps you in the present moment, because when you have conversations, especially debates or intellectual conversations, you have to think about what you want to say next. Instead of having to constantly worry about the future, which takes you away from the present, your brain switches to the present moment, because you have to reply to that person, you have to answer. And with your brain space, the only thing you can think about is what to reply instead of what the thing you were worrying about. And I've seen this with having social interactions, even with or without conversations. If I hang out with my friends, I feel more present because I'm with people and we're doing a certain activity. And whenever I'm hanging out with my friends, I feel joy. But in order to feel joy and enjoy the activities that you're doing, you have to be present or else you aren't feeling the enjoyment. So get out of your depressing house, talk to people to stimulate your brain, and start feeling your feelings. See, whenever I feel like I'm drifting from the present, I start to talk to my friends or my girlfriend. I'm sort of a stubborn person where I don't like to let go of what I'm trying to worry about whenever I'm in a conversation, where I just start to close off and not pay attention to anything. But most of the time, having a conversation helped me. Like sometimes they would have to say some outlandish thing. You have to ask a really intellectual question for me to start thinking about how to answer that question in order for me to get away from the future and start worrying about the present. Like I said with the intellectual conversations, you can have deep conversation with your friends, which should, in fact, spark your thinking. Because with deep conversations, especially political questions, these need an opinion, and opinions take some thought in order for you to come up with one to manifest from your brain. So go outside with your friends, or at least go outside, meet a new stranger, and talk to them. The last point is to read. Whenever I read, I feel like I'm talking to myself in my head. When you have to talk to yourself in your head, like when you're thinking of thoughts or reading what you're seeing on the book, this takes up space. And this means you have to be in the moment to think about the thoughts and to think about the things that you're reading. Because if you don't do this, you won't understand what you're reading. Personally, I've found books to be relaxing because after a couple pages of reading, or if I finish a chapter, I feel a dopamine rush. And although I say that dopamine is bad, it's not bad if it's from something like a book. Because you're getting quick dopamine from short content because that's 10 seconds, but from reading or cold showers or cold plunges or even exercising, those things take time. You're not getting an instant hit every single time. Usually this type of dopamine of, having it to be exercise or cold exposure or reading, this is higher quality dopamine. You need dopamine to live. It's a biological thing. Anyways, with reading, I also feel calm with reading. But that's just from reading from informational books. I haven't read a fictional book in a while, but from my experience in the past, you still have to be present in reading those books because you have to start imagining what you're seeing, and you have to also just read what you're reading. When you read every sentence, you have to start piecing things together. You have to encapsulate what you're reading. You have to start building that domain, that area of what the story is trying to put you in, that setting, the characters, what they look like, things like that. In order to do that, you have to be present because you have to read what's on the page, but also be able to come up and manifest what you're reading. Also with reading, this ties in with your senses. Like I said, you have to understand what you're reading, but also you're able to touch the page and feel its rough surface. If you want some book recommendations, here are the books that helped me with my life. Although this is an audiobook/podcast, Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins took me out of a dark time. Second book that I recommend is The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. I'm currently reading this. It's on my nightstand right now. And so far, it's been great. Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. This one helped me understand about purpose and hope. The last book that I recommend, it's not really a book, it's more of a manga series. It's Vagabond. I know a lot of you probably heard about this book, but it's by Inoue Takehiko. But this book is phenomenal. Every time I read a chapter, I feel more calm. And with feeling more calm, I feel at peace and I feel more present. And if you want any of these books, I'll link them down below in the description, so you don't have to Google search this. The link is just right there. So being able to focus and be present, these are skills. Although you and I may suck at these skills at first, practicing it makes it easier. Do that 1% activity, go improve it. If you're a man, watch this video to understand what you need to focus on.